probably heard of Route 66, the Pacific Coast Highway, or Scotland's North Coast 500, but perhaps an equally epic road trip lies a little closer to home, the Southwest 660. This is a brilliant tourist route around the north coast of Devon, right round the tip of Cornwall and then back to Bournemouth. And so we're going to take it on over the next 3 days and show you some of the best biking roads and some of the best stops along the way. And what better bikes to do it on than Triumph's 660 lineup? We've got the Trident 660, the Daytona 660 sports bike, and also the one we're all fighting over for these longer distances, the Tiger Sport 660 as well. We've got 3 of us, myself, Tim on the video, James doing photos, and so join us for this brilliant route, and I'm sure it's going to be an absolute blast. Now, as you might have noticed, we haven't quite got the weather today, but it is meant to pick up a little bit tomorrow and the day after. But it's still not enough to sap my enjoyment of this brilliant route, because we've started from the north. So you're straight into the A39 through Porlock and Lynmouth, and there is miles of brilliant biking roads. So this is probably one of the best bits for riding, and the views are pretty spectacular as well. Now, I volunteered to go on the Daytona today because I believe it is probably the best riding of the whole route, although we'll see, we might pick up some nice roads down on the south. But yeah, even though it's not ideal conditions, stick it in rain mode and it's very well behaved, and you can still have a bit of a blast when things do dry up for a moment or the road straightens. Now this, my friends, is one of the most iconic bits of this particular road. It's the descent down to Lynmouth, and so one to ease off a little bit and savour, because the view is properly spectacular. Even on a dull day like today, you can see the sea is clear and blue, and so steep down to the sea. And then Lynmouth itself down the bottom is worth maybe a little quick stop for a bite to eat, but I think we're going to push on to Padstow. If I had to summarise the next hour or two of riding with just one shot, well, unfortunately, it would be this. We got a proper soak-in. A bit of a shame, as you've got the brilliant Atlantic Highway and some beautiful beaches you could stop off at. But sometimes, well, you've just got to crack on and keep your eyes peeled for any port in a storm. It's been a great day, some great roads, loving the bikes, but maybe not without its challenges because of the weather. We've definitely been ready for a stop and also ready for some food, so why not stop here in Padstow, which has, of course, been made very popular with tourists over the past few years, partly owing to the fact that Rick Stein, for our international viewers, one of our most famous TV chefs, has established like a whole bunch of cafes and bars and restaurants and hotels and stuff like that. Thing is, in this sort of gear, we're probably not going to get into any of those, so we hit up the fish and chips takeaway, which is still delicious. We're talking crab burger for Tim, great chips, battered scallops, which are unbelievable, great curry sauce, not just that regular thin yellow stuff, I'm talking proper curry sauce. And so we're really well fed now, and it's time to get back on the road, seek out some more good roads on the way down to sort of St Ives, and also maybe hit up the beach. Most important thing on a motorcycle tour is, of course, to keep your intake of roughage up so that you don't get blocked up. So a couple of cucumber sticks in with my scallops help keep things from moving. Right, thanks for that. Anyway, you might have gathered that we weren't following the exact Southwest 660 route, which takes in pretty much every beautiful little stop-off possible along the whole coast. Rewarding, I'm sure, but those little back roads and detours can be very time-consuming. And we've got just 3 days to get round the best bits, of course leaving plenty of time for overpriced seafood. Now, Tim and James seemed weirdly keen to stop somewhere outside Perranporth, but nonetheless, we pushed on south and things were starting to look a little brighter.
caught in my belt?
What have you caught? Is it your mouth? Oh, it's the toggle on the trousers.
Sweats into my...
Now this particular road is the back road between Portreath and Gwithian, and it might not be, you know, the longest, curviest road you'll ever ride, but it does have some really nice flowing curves to it. And also at this time of year in September, and at this time of day as well, it's just a little bit quieter, and so there's definitely a lot of fun to be had. Plus, you occasionally just get some spectacular views of the sea between the hills and over the cliffs, and that definitely adds to the, you know, the appeal of riding down here, like that. Behind me, we've got Gwithian Beach, which I think is one of my favourite beaches in the world and one of my favourite places in the world. At this time of evening, it is spectacular. It's massive. It goes all the way down to Hale, basically, right up to Gadreevy, where you've got the lighthouse up there. You can get seals along there. There's surfing, there's rock pools to play in with the kids and all that good stuff, but mainly I just love the breathtaking views. I did also say when we were riding along that I might go in the sea. It looks cold and it's very windy, but I think they might hold me to it. So, end of the first day. Jamie's just getting some sunset bangers with the camera and a good chance to have a think about the bikes. I've really enjoyed that slightly more sporty personality that you get from the Daytona today. Lots of fun from that slightly more powerful version of the 660 triple, but also it's comfortable enough to still be enjoyable on a bit of a mixed day like today. You can get stuck in when the weather's good, but there's a bit of wind protection and you can sit up a little bit when you just want to take it easy and maybe, you know, de-risk a bit, let's say. What am I going to ride tomorrow, though? What are you going to ride, Tim? You've been on the Trident today.
I want Daytona.
Yeah, Tim's going Daytona. That puts me on the Tiger and James on the Trident. We might have to tell him that tomorrow because I think he fancies a bit of a go on the Daytona as well. Anyway, what a day. What a mix of riding and experiences, but it's been amazing. I can't wait to see what tomorrow holds. Well, I probably should have seen that one coming, but fortunately it didn't hang around too long, and I'm starting to fully internalise now that the weather in Cornwall can be rather changeable. Day 2, and we're starting off in St Ives on a beautiful morning in a beautiful location. Now, like Padstow, it has become very busy and touristy over the past few years. But again, outside of the school holidays, it's not too bad. And like you can see, in September, you still might get a bit of decent weather. Now, we had a couple of pints last night, some very nice old Cornish pubs if you do like your ales and ciders. Plenty of good food, lots of art galleries, and quite a few dreamy beaches dotted all around the town, so certainly worth a stop in my book. Now, I will admit, I'm a little sad to say goodbye to the Daytona today, but in the interest of fairness and variety, well, I'm swapping onto the Tiger Sport, and I dare say I'll probably really enjoy that more plush suspension, the upright riding position, and also the extra wind protection. The other lads, they're swapping too, and I'll be interested to see what everyone's got to say about them by the end of the day, because I think with yesterday being so tough, well, we did all bond quite a bit with our respective bikes. So onto the first road of the day, and it was a banger, the B3306 from St Ives to St Just. Clear, dry with the right sort of challenging bends, plus incredible views out to the ocean and a lush green carpet of ferns across the hills. Then we whipped past the famous site of Carngalva Mine, and then swiftly on to a well-earned lunch. No trip, of course, to Cornwall would be complete without a Cornish pasty. This was James's tip in St Just. There's a little local butcher which he said was particularly good, and they've also made a special one for me with a big C on the pastry. Don't know what it stands for, but I'm sure it's going to be delicious. That's a joke, it's actually cheese, I'm vegetarian. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this. That is good. That's very good. Proper pasty.
Keep it there, keep it there.
Does it look good?
Yeah.
I'm going to be finding those flakes of pastry in my beard while I'm inside the helmet.
Second, isn't it?
Delicious, and with plenty of roughage too. Although I will say, on the handheld snack spectrum, well, they are certainly on the dense side, and so a fairly gentle cruise to let it settle on the way to our next point of interest. Now, we've just stopped off at Land's End. We're not quite sure if it's the most westerly or southwesterly point in the UK or England. It's one of those. I'll put it on the screen now in the edit. But it is an iconic photo out the front here, and so we wanted to stop off to get that. There is also some kind of touristy stuff in a museum and places to eat and stuff like that, so maybe worth the trip if you kind of fancy that sort of thing. But there's this really big rain cloud just rolling in off the sea. Probably not a problem if you're in a car, but I think for us three, you know, we don't really fancy hanging around to see if it comes exactly over this car park, so let's get back on the road. But this is kind of the turning point. It's back towards Bournemouth from here. Just a few miles past Penzance, we've got St Michael's Mount, and it is worth just stopping off for a few minutes to have a quick look and get a few snaps, because it's truly spectacular, especially when the tide's out like this and you can see the path with everybody walking up to it. Different situation, of course, once the tide's in. I think you have to get a boat either out or back. You can see the little harbour off to the right. Now, I believe there's around 30 people still living over there, which, you know, it seems like a bit of an inconvenience, but I'm sure it is beautiful. And there is a pub, so there's always that. And I think that probably shows the extent that some people are willing to go to, marching out across the sand there, just for a lovely pint. I think that's it, if you're happy with that too. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's been ages since I've shown you that little map. 4 minutes and 8 seconds to be precise. But that's because it's pretty slow going once you get down to the tip of Cornwall. In fact, it's mid-afternoon already and we've only made it to here. And so I think it might be wise to take a quick shortcut. Now, this southern part of Cornwall has far more rivers and inlets and estuaries, so you better get used to taking a few ferries, especially if you want to go the long route. But it is also pretty picturesque, and so it's got to be said it's a nice way to travel. This one in particular is called the King Harry's Floating Bridge. It's just a little bit north of Falmouth. And I guess it's called a floating bridge, not a ferry, because it's actually on a chain and it's pulley driven. Now, it is probably making us all stop to film boring pieces of information like that that's really put us behind schedule, and so we made a pretty direct beeline for our second night stopover in Dartmouth. We did, however, get to admire the majestic Royal Albert Bridge, not the boring road bridge we were crossing, but Brunel's incredible rail bridge that sits alongside it, best viewed, in my humble opinion, from the picturesque banks of the Tamar in Saltash, from where you can admire it in all its glory. I should add, my wife's substantial family are from Saltash, and so the superlatives are mandatory when referring to said bridge. Wow, what a sky. This is the road along the back of Slapton Sands, so we've got the beach on this side, but on the other side we've got a lake, and it really is a view when you come round the top and down onto this road. So a spectacular sunset to end another brilliant day on the bikes, but there was just one job left, to get the last drone shot. Although having a bit of crash damage, well, James attempted to bodge it like a true professional to get that last shot in the bag, and well...
Yeah. Moment of truth. Yeah. Oh no! Oh no!
It's gonna flip. Bring it around. It's not good. Oh no, 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 no. Is it gonna get in the sea?
Yep. It's just going all over the place, mate.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming up. Oh man, it's nearly there. No.
Come on, go down. Just kick it.
Jeez, that's so scary.
Oh, mate.
Basically, this is an epic view, isn't it? Especially with this light. So we wanted to get a drone shot, even though James had slightly broken his drone earlier in the day. So he's gaffered it, and we thought it might hold. But it basically just ended up over the sea doing somersaults and flips. And I mean, they're not cheap, are they? How much are those? 900 quid? You know, it's not the most expensive drone in the world, but it's still a lot of money. Watching it flip around over the sea, and then it came back over the land, and then it went back over the sea again. We'll just, we'll use one of your other ones, mate, and people will get the idea. It's not worth, you know, crashing a 900 quid drone into the sea. Good effort though. Another brilliant day of riding. I've been very fortunate, I think, to be on the Tiger Sport with its extra comfort and wind protection and weather protection, which definitely counted for a lot towards the end of the day. Tomorrow I'm on the Trident, familiar turf because I owned one a couple of years back, although it has had a lot more tech added to it for this new 2025 version, and so maybe it'll be even better. But yeah, something to look forward to tomorrow. Tim, are we going for a swim again tonight, or are we too cold? Yeah, too cold. There's someone out there. I'll get a shot of them and we can use that instead. Morning everybody, we're here at Dartmouth for the start of day 3. It's at the mouth of the River Dart, as you might have guessed. And what a lovely little spot. We've got boats, lots of houses up on the hills. It's very picturesque, and also some nice places to stay and eat and have a couple of pints. So it's been a very nice stop off indeed, and I'd wholeheartedly recommend making this part of your route. But I think for the biker, you're faced with a little bit of a dilemma once you get to this sort of point. You see, where a lot of these tourism routes actually focus on the roads, I'd say more so, the Southwest 660 really is about the steam trains and the destinations along the way and the things to stop off and see and do. And I will say, from this point onwards, the riding maybe isn't as good as what we've experienced so far. And so I think we're going to suggest an alternative. Do proceed to Bournemouth if you want to stop off at some of the beautiful places like Lyme Regis and Charmouth, where you can do a bit of fossiling on the beach. But if you're more so here for the riding and roads, well, what we're going to do is cut back to the north coast of Devon and take in some more spectacular twisty roads. And I guess on top of all that, well, today's my day on the Trident. I've experienced the dynamism, let's say, of the Daytona. I've experienced the comfort of the Tiger Sport. But this thing, I'm hoping, is the perfect happy medium. What I don't want to do today is just sit on straight roads and sit in traffic. I want to go full send, really enjoy it, really work the engine and see how it handles and, you know, get to grips with it again. Because like I said yesterday, I used to own one of these and I think it could be almost the perfect bike for this sort of trip. I feel like this has become a video largely about weather, and so I'm trying to avoid talking about it too much, but I'll give you a quick update this morning because as you can see, it looks like perfect biking conditions. But I was watching the forecast in my hotel room this morning and it said showers all day particularly coming from the southwest. So it's going to be another day of getting in and out of the old wets and making the most of the dry when we can. But we won't let it we'll let it dampen our Kevlar jeans, Tim, but we won't let it dampen our spirits, will we?
Speak for yourself, I'm wearing waterproofs.
Yes. What do we get? Half an hour? Nah, it was longer than that, but thank you. Thank you. I'm going in the bus stop. Hello, old friends. I think realistically, you're best just wearing the wets the whole time. It's just if you want to get some good content. This is a great little road from Crediton to Tiverton, and I think on a dry day it'd be really, really good. Still though, good fun. And the nice thing about this 660 engine is you can short shift a bit and keep the revs a little bit lower. And it just feels a little more mellow and suited to these conditions, as well as, you know, your different modes. But definitely the versatility of it is one of the big strengths of it. And I think actually the engine is probably the star of the show in every single bike in this lineup. This is just one of those random clicking around on Google Maps finds, but we're really glad we ended up here. It's called the Lost Kitchen, Devon, and it's such a nice setting. Even though we're sat outside in the rain, they were fully booked, so this was the best table they had. But all the same, the wood-fired pizza was outrageously good, very Moorish. We had a mushroom and truffle and a margarita just to try the base level. I like to do that sometimes, guys. Just have the margarita. If that's good, you know the rest are going to be good. Next up though, the A396, which is, I mean, again, if you look at that on Google Maps, it already looks appealing, although we might just wait for another 10 minutes or so for things to hopefully brighten up. This is the A396 running north back towards the start, and this is bike in heaven. It just makes its way through some of these wooded areas, barely a straight section along it, and I guess if it was dry you'd really be able to fling the bike about a bit. Even with it like this, I mean, you've got to look out for puddles and bits of debris, but actually the tyres on this Trident, the Michelins, are really pretty reassuring, and so, you know, I'm not having to tiptoe along it, thankfully. I gotta say, it was a little bit of a tough call this morning as to whether to go out to Bournemouth or back this way, but this is exactly what I wanted to do on this bike, and it's exactly the way that I wanted to start rounding off this brilliant trip. Yes! Oh, I literally just hit record. Oh my gosh, it did say pheasants on the road about a mile back. Tim, favourite bike?
Daytona, hands down, easy.
Favourite bike, mate?
Trident.
For me, I think heart says Daytona, head says Tiger Sport. It's just the most comfortable, and I think if I was doing a longer trip and considering how much stuff we carried on it as well, it'd be the one. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. It's been a brilliant trip. Definitely recommend it if you ever fancy trying it for yourself. I think the key thing is just to pre-plan and kind of make it what you want. There's certainly a way to make it more exciting for the riding side, but also if you want to make it more about the touring and the destinations, then there's infinite stuff you could stop and look at. As always, hit subscribe if you want to see more motorcycle news, motorcycle reviews, and yeah, hopefully see you in the next video. That's it.